Hello and welcome to the Whiskyfile. This video will be different as it covers some current events, mainly because the topic was so pressing that I had to talk about it and wanted to push this out to you. Next week we'll be back to regular questions and maybe even a review a little later on. Now, you may have heard talks about aircraft tariffs being lifted, making your scotch cheaper. But before we dive in, I just want to give a disclaimer. This is simply a whiskey channel, obviously. Not an international affairs or news channel. I don't give any air of expertise in politics, nor do I want to give this channel a show of any bias. But I will give you my honest take of the matter. So, without further ado, what exactly do aircraft parts and scotch have in common? Well, we have to look back to 2019. The previous US administration and the EU were in trade negotiations mainly centered around Airbus, the largest aerospace corporation in the world based in France, though has presence throughout all of Europe, and Boeing, the American aerospace corporation based in Washington, and is the main competitor to Airbus. These negotiations reached an impasse, and both the US and the EU, in an effort to favor their respective businesses and national interest, levied tariffs on each other that covered a wide variety of goods that each produced. For Americans, these tariffs were applied to a multitude of goods sold and manufactured in the EU, including Scotch whisky, which Scotland, being a part of the UK, was technically part of the EU at the time. To best understand tariffs, they are essentially a tax. The tariffs are an added tax based on the value of the imported goods. This cost is trickled down from the manufacturer to the shipper and finally worked into the final price of the product once it reaches your shelf, which can rise considerably, so essentially you pay this tax if you buy that specific commodity. This rise in cost in turn will cause demand to drop based on the simple economic model of supply and demand. These tariffs can be used either for diplomatic pressure and negotiations, or used to favor domestic production by artificially raising the price of foreign-made goods. And that's exactly what happened, as the tariffs cost the Scotch whisky industry alone over £500 million in lost revenue, according to the BBC's reporting. But there is good news. The tariffs levied against the UK, given they have formally left the EU, are being lifted, so what you will notice is your favorite bottle of scotch could drop in price sometime soon. I know that one of my favorite scotches used to cost around $40 a bottle a few years ago, and lately is north of $55, so we could see a notable drop in price across the board. While this move to lift the tariffs has quite a lot more details within it, and some positives and negatives, and while I won't go into the nuanced politics of this because, again, this channel is simply just about whiskey, just know if you favor scotch in particular, it could lead to lower costs of your favorite golden drink in the future. So sit back, relax, and relish on the potential of good deals, and pour yourself a glass as we go through the Whiskyfile. Cheers.